Hello, everybody. Today I'm interviewing my good friend Scott Dawson from Down Under, and we're going to talk to Scott about him, about life, about framing, about a very cool frame that he made recently. That was a curved frame. Scotty, how's it going, man?
Good, Mo. How are you, buddy?
So the first thing you tell me, so you get a call at the shop, right? You don't answer the phone. Somebody answers the phone. And what's the question?
So Jack answers the phone, and the question, I just happened to be standing there at the time, and he says, "Can we make a frame that curves off a wall?" And I said, "Oh, I invented them. Tell them they cost thousands, because
Oh,
usually you get tire kickers with stuff like that."
yeah.
And they said, "Okay, well, I just said, come and see me." So they came in and saw me. They said, "What's the best way of doing it?" I said, "Museum acrylic, but it'll make your eyes water." We sent through all the pricing, and they said, "Let's go ahead with it."
Yeah.
So, and then I go, "Oh, I've got to make this thing now."
You took their money first, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. And then, so I'm going to show some of the pictures and you can describe it. How's that?
Okay, then. So you want to start the first ones, the primitive, so I can
Sure.
explain.
Well, I don't know which order I have it in. So we're just going to go through and then you tell
Okay,
me what's what. How's that?
fine.
All right. So let's go here. We're going to go to Zoom, share screen, entire screen. We
There's
got
the
it here,
start.
Scott. Yeah.
Rightio. So the first thing we have to do is we have to work out what the curve is of their wall. So we go on site and
Yeah.
we scribe their wall. So that angle there isn't like a perfect arc, but so it's actually a scribe of their wall. So the first part that I'm making there is the first rail. So that is the first rail being made, which is the arc of their wall. So if you go to the next one,
One.
all right. So what I've done there is I've cut the first rail out, and then I've drilled um, another three pieces to that first rail and routed from that first rail. So each rail is identical.
All
Then
right.
what we've
So you
done,
got four
yeah,
rails in here.
correct.
How many
So
rails
there's
are in
only
your
two
frame?
there. There's two there, so I'm doing one of the either top or bottom there.
Okay.
Um, but I had to make four rails that were equal, and they have to be equal, and you have to mark them. So each one of those ribs that you see with the glue on top of them, they have been marked in pencil. So I don't know if you can just sort of make it out on the photograph, the lines on the edge of that board.
Yeah.
So
I see it.
you see it. So you have to make each one of them line up, because if one's on an angle or it's not on the right spot, the whole thing starts to fight and twist. So each part has to be equal.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll make two of those rails, and then obviously you've got the up and down.
Oh, so when you're saying rails, two rails make up the top, two rails make up the bottom, and then are the sides going to be straight lines, right? The side's not going to curve,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's
All
it.
right. Right. You want me to go next
Okay.
screen?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
So now you can see the rails. So you can see each. So that's why I needed the four rails. You can see the top and bottoms on the right hand side there, and then you've got the up and downs on the left.
I see. Okay.
And see how each part is equal. And you can probably just make out the pencil lines and see how the pencil
I see
lines
it.
all match up.
I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Scotty, what kind of material are you using over here?
That's just 12 mil MDF, which I got off a friend of mine for free. He had some offcuts.
So 12 mil is about what, a half inch in America?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
All right. Next one. Okay, here you go. So now you're making it look like a frame now.
Now it looks like a frame. I've just joined the longs with the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's the easy part. At this stage here, it's pretty flimsy. It's delicate, so I can still manipulate the angle, like make it true. So I've got to be careful that when I lay the 3 mil MDF on the top and the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you can make things out of square. So, but at
And you
this
have a
stage, it's
full sheet, right? You will be a big full sheet that goes over.
correct. So it might be on the next photo. I know. So here you can see I've squared it up and
Okay.
very primitive. It looks pretty primitive too. So I've got a straight edge on your left and right.
Yeah.
You can see I've drilled a star picket into the front there, which can you see the star picket?
What
The
is
metal,
that? What is it?
a star picket. You know what farmers use to make fences.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So I needed a steel straight edge for the bottom. So I'm just squaring it up, and you can just see I've clamped it to the aluminium rails. We've actually chopped, well, I put wedges underneath the right hand side because I've had to square the frame up before I lay the 3mm MDF over the top.
I see.
So
And
go to the next one.
that's a big pipe clamp, huh? How big is that?
What do you got there? I'm just trying to work it out in your feet. You've got probably 8 foot.
8 foot. That's an 8 foot clamp right there. Okay.
Yeah, we have a few of those.
All right, I'm moving to the next one.
Okay, so I've still got the star picket on,
Yeah,
and I've layered the first bit of 3mm, and see that I've had to drill a rail in the middle because it was bowing a little bit.
I
So you can
see.
see a temporary rail being put in there. And that's just to hold it together. So that glue on that 3mm MDF now has to go off. Once that goes off, that's going to be pretty tight. It's not going to
Are
move
you
anywhere
using
now.
just glue or are you also shooting brads in there?
We're putting staples in there as well.
Staples as well. I see.
So
Now,
then,
just for scale, Scotty, how big is this thing?
2.5 meters. It's probably 11 foot by 5 foot.
11 by 5. Okay, not a small frame.
No, it's quite big.
All right, so moving to so now your 3mm is oversized. You're gonna trim this down, or is that on?
Correct. Correct. I've sent you some videos of me doing that.
Oh, hold on, I
So
got the
now what we've
video
done,
here. Oh,
now
you want
see
to see that? Okay.
right, see here, what I've had to do is use bricks underneath the front. So the underneath there's got 3mm MDF on it already. So it was still twisting a little bit. So we had to level it up by putting those bricks underneath it and make it sturdy enough for us to start drilling that and putting that other 3mm on the back of the frame.
So do you, excuse me, okay. So do you have the 3mm on the top layer and also the bottom layer over here?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. And somebody's stapling or throwing or putting brad nails in there, right?
Yeah, that's right. Grant's just finishing off the staples on there. So we start from the middle and work our way out to
Sure.
the edges.
Okay.
All right, so here, what I'm doing is I'm making the rebates for the frame. So I've put
Now,
some,
did you trim the thing down already? The 3mm, did you trim it down
yeah,
already?
so it's
Route
all,
it up?
at this stage, all the 3mm is taken off. And then what we need to do now is create the rebate for the frame. So I wanted an 8mm by 20mm rebate. So 20mm deep into the frame and 8mm, it's a normal 8mm rebate, which is, I don't know in inches. You can see, so what I've done is I've used the arc of the frame. So I'm actually using the frame as my template to make my rebates.
Now, is
So
this
they're
a
actually,
straight piece of wood that you bent, or is it also cut
so
in
you,
shape?
I had to make two. So in order to make that rebate, I've got to make an 8mm by two 8mm by 10mm and glue them together. That's the only way you can hold the shape.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's the laminating of the two pieces of timber that create the shape.
So Scott, was a straight piece of lumber that you clamped to give you a shape, right? It wasn't cut in a curve, correct?
Correct. They're two flat pieces that I've used my frame as a template to clamp the
I
two
see.
bits together to create the shape. Yeah.
Okay. Do I go to the next one?
Yep.
All right,
So
now
there
it's
you can
coming
see
together.
another photo.
Yeah.
So you see I put some tape on the frame so I don't glue my rebate to the front of the frame. And you can see on the left-hand side there, the two pieces of timber. So you've got one on there that's that's going to form the rebate. And then you've got the other two bits that need to be glued together still. So I'm just waiting for the glue to go off on this one, and then I'll use the same template and do the other rebate as well. So you've got your top and
This
bottom
is going to
rebate.
end up being the back of the frame, right? Because you're going to drop the picture in here, correct?
So see the yellow tape on the left-hand side, that'll be glued into there. Cut the sides and glued into the left-hand side to form the rebate. That's the inside of the rebate.
I see. Okay. Now, next screen.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, rebates are in. And we're masking off. I'm just working out now to get the veneer on the inside of the frame. So we want to start the veneer on the top and bottom of the frame, and then get those in and trimmed off, and then do your two internals. So it's important here to pick which pieces of laminate get put on first. So in this case, we're going to put your inside rebates, top and bottom, and then the outside of the frame, top and bottom.
I see.
Because we want the laminate on the outside. So when you look at the frame from the side, you don't see the joint. I mean, you don't see it anyway because you're sanding it, but it's just good housekeeping.
Of course, of course. Hey, I got a question. What's going on with all the wheels in the back over there?
They're compo wheels, so they make. Well, we run our compo through to make traditional period frames. It's more Graham's thing. Graham does a lot of that. I do a little bit, for myself, and we don't market that type of framing. Graham does a lot of that, but we can do it.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
All right, next screen.
Okay,
right, what's going on here?
We only get one shot at this laminate. You can see the laminate on the floor.
Oh, so these are the rollers. You go step at a time and remove the little chopsticks. Is that what you do?
That's right. So you can see we eat a lot of noodles.
I saw this picture before I talked to you. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So
I get it
what
now.
we do is
Okay.
we put the veneer on top of those sticks. Make sure that we've covered the frame. We make sure we're not missing anywhere, and then start at the middle, and then start pushing out.
Now you cut your veneer a little bit oversized, and then you end up trimming it, right, to give it a nice clean finish. I see.
That's it.
All right, there you go.
Veneer's on. So that's after we've finished trimming it and everything, we've got the veneer on. You've got to take your time with this. I cut the veneer with a Stanley knife, or what do you, box cutter?
With a box cutter?
Box cutter, what do you call it over there? But you cut it on an angle. So when you've got your 2 points, when you put your 45 together, you make sure that your angle is that way. So when you join, you're joining two parts. Yes, yeah. That's how you close it up.
It's really tight. I like it. Now, how big is the scale of that molding, that frame? How thick is the frame?
4 inches.
4 inches. Okay.
Maybe 3.5 inches.
Okay. Good size.
So you can see when it's all together, why you would have the veneer, like you do your sides last. Like you can't really see the join, but I know you can't see it if I leave the sides to last.
I understand. I see. Now, between the lowest part of the frame, if it was laying on the ground, and the highest part of the frame, what's the difference? What is the height?
Sorry, I don't understand.
So, from the lowest point of the frame to the highest point of the frame, if you had it laying on a table, what is that distance?
Oh, I see. Just over a foot.
Or a foot.
So you're asking me the depth of the arc.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. So now I'm looking at the back over here.
Correct. So what I've just made here, you can see that I've finished the frame with white on the back of it.
Yeah.
So it's all white paint, just a flat white paint. Those rails are just the rails that are going to hold the artwork in place.
I see. Okay. And you use this many of them so they don't pop back out, correct?
Correct. I need to support the middle of the frame. I wasn't quite sure how the acrylic was going to react. I didn't think there'd be a lot of pressure, but I may as well make the whole rail and cover and support the middle of the frame as well while I'm there.
Scott, how thick of an acrylic did you use? What kind of acrylic did you use?
Just a 3mm museum.
3mm museum. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So
It's
review.
just another angle of the same thing.
Now, I don't know if I have a picture of you finished it, but I know I have some videos somewhere.
What
Oh,
Jacob
oh,
sent
here.
you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's the finished
Yep.
product right there.
That's the finished product. Yep.
That looks pretty cool. Now, did you mat that too? Or what is this whiteboard around here?
It's a museum map board.
Okay. Okay. And the artwork is watercolor?
Correct.
All right, hold on. So I'm going to get out of here. All right, let me play some of the videos. Which video do you want me to play?
You can.
All right, I'm going to pick one and then you can describe it. How's that?
Okay, let's do that. So this is trimming the outside, what you were saying that we make it bigger.
I see.
Trim the excess off. So you can see the lines we've put on there to put our staples in. The lines are there just to guide us to where we're shooting in the middle of the 12mm MDF.
Sure.
And I've got a really bad, one of my blunt router bits in at the moment because just in case a couple of the staples have missed and I'm going to hit the staple.
Sure.
I'm trying to squeeze past the machine here. So you can see the staple holes at the end that have all been puttied up.
Sure. That's all it took. It took 1 minute and 5 seconds, right?
Yep, outside trimmed.
Nice.
So this frame in total took me roughly 2 days.
That's all?
Yeah, maybe a bit longer, maybe 2 and a bit. In labour time, it took a little bit, like it took a week because I'm waiting for glues to dry and then I go and make myself busy with something else. So this is
now
just a
you're cutting.
middle.
Now you're cutting the inside part.
What's a minute? Well,
God, you're keeping those hands too close to the router bit, man.
no. I use that thing without the safety. So now at this stage, that MDF is all, the glue is all dry and that's strong as anything. That's not twisting, that's not moving.
Sure.
That's a solid piece now. Yeah.
I have a couple more videos here.
Okay, this is where I cross my fingers and hope that the artwork fits in. Oh no, it is fitting at this stage. Has Jacob sent you another video?
And no, he didn't send me anything in between. Oh, there is. I'm sorry. Yes, there is. Oh, but this is the finish. This is the finished video.
I don't know. He trimmed it up. I don't know.
Oh, he did send me another video, but I can't show that video.
Okay, then that'll be the one that we set up a tripod and Jacob and Jack brought the artwork from all our clean work gets done upstairs. They brought the artwork down and I'm just like, please fit, and it just popped in nicely. So
what are you saying here? The artwork is already in the frame, right?
I believe so, yes. So I'm grabbing the supports now to put them in, but it's slotted in nicely. So we just made the foam core 3mm smaller, the backing board, because as you drop in the artwork, it's going to be a shorter distance. And I just guessed the 3mm. I thought, oh well, 3mm will probably cover it.
You could have said
There's
I used advanced calculus to figure it out. I would have believed you.
There's none of that. There's just take 3mm off and see if it's worst case scenario. I have to pull it out and trim a little bit off, but we had a fair idea that 3 mil would cover it.
So you want me to fast forward a little bit?
Yeah, might as well just worry.
Or you guys just,
We're just
putting
drilling in the
nails
rails
and
now.
sure.
So I'm just pushing. We're just pushing down, but not. There's maybe a 2 millimeter gap on the rails. I just made it a little bit of wriggle room in case it moves with temperature. They're going to be locking up the unit, so I thought I'll give it a little bit of wriggle room. But you can't drill them right up. Like you just have to push down and allow that wriggle room to happen. Otherwise, you pull the frame out of whack.
Did you say this was a lot of under a lot of pressure?
Not really. It wasn't as much as I thought. I thought there might be a bit of resistance, like if you were to staple around all the edges, that the middle might do this, but
Sure.
it didn't. It just sat in there beautifully. So yeah. I hadn't actually made, I've made frames similar to this, but not like this, like not an arm like that. And I was unsure about how the rest of the frame worked out.
That looks pretty cool, man. I really enjoyed you describing how you did this, how you made that thing. Oh, I forgot. I asked you before. Maybe you can tell the audience what's your background. How did you learn to do this? Or because this is not something that a normal framer would just come and make, right?
No, that's correct. There was a stage in my early 20s, early mid 20s, when I got sick of picture framing. I was working on all the high rises, and it was just basic framing, production, and I got bored. And my father-in-law said to me, "Hey, listen, I've got a client that's got a sign shop. You want to have a go at that then?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what's that? Vinyl lettering? I'm going to get sick of that pretty quick." I'm a creative person, so I like to be kept amused. So I walk into this shop for this interview, and there's neon signs, and there's welders, and there's spark, electricians wiring stuff and flashing lights, and I thought, oh, this isn't bad. Might have a go at this one. And it was all the signs that they make for the casinos. And I said, oh, all right, well, where am I going to be working? Give me a welder or give me whatever you're going to give me. And just like, it was like a scene out of a movie. And just as I said, where am I going to be working? These two timber doors open, and this old guy walks out with wooden clogs on, and the guy says, "You're going to be working with him." I said, "Out of all this, I get him." You serious? As it turns out, he was a master craftsman, and we were working like they would give us an A4 sheet of paper of a big eagle. Like I'm talking a 20-foot eagle, 20-foot wide with its wings and 20-foot long, and a big checker, like a checker plate head. And we'd have to sit there and work out how we're going to make this thing. And I already knew how to use tools. Like tools were my jam, right? But but he actually taught me how to think about something, how to think, sit down and think about a job before you start. Like we would sit there for 2 days thinking about each part that would go into this frame. So we didn't have Photoshop and CAD programs and stuff like that. There was none of that back then. So I don't even think mobile phones were a common thing, So they would hand us like an A4 sheet of paper with a drawing on it, with a measurement, say, go and make it. So we would have to go and make it off a drawing, So that's where I learned to make the stuff.
Is A4 about this size paper?
That's it.
A4. That's pretty amazing.
And then, like, I'd be handed an A4 piece of paper with a train, right? A picture of a train. And we want this train to be 9 feet high, 4.5 feet wide, and 4 feet deep. We need to access all the power. So if something goes wrong with the LED lights, we need to be able to pull it out and access it. But we don't want to see any joins. So you would have to sit there and work out each part of that, then go make the train.
That sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, I could have stayed there forever, but some rich guy decided he wanted to buy the business, and they said I'd have to move to another part of the country, and I didn't want to go there. So I said, oh, I could make some pretty cool rectangles now with these new skills.
That sounds good. How long did you last at the job?
18 months.
That's it.
That's all. Yeah, I could have stayed there forever, but 18 months was all. Was how long the business lasted. So I could have stayed in that industry, but I didn't want to move. So I was happy where I was.
Did the guy with the wooden clogs move with the company?
He moved back to Denmark. He was Danish.
I see. I see. I see.
So yeah, he had a couple of personal issues, but yeah, he ended up moving back to Denmark. He was a really nice guy, and as I found out later, because I've got a lot of friends in the shop fitting industry. He trained half of the people in the shop fitting industry.
In
So,
Australia.
oh no, on the Gold Coast where we are. So the
Oh,
people that had successful shop fitting businesses, they'd work with him, and yeah, he was pretty much a legend. So
nice. Nice. That's very cool. All right, Scotty. I think we're running out of time. Do you want to add anything at the end? I'm speechless. I'm impressed. I don't know what else to say.
um, no, I think we covered it, didn't we, mate? We covered
Yeah.
that. And thanks for watching along. You know, I'd like to share these things so people can maybe have a go at it themselves. Um, I often get asked, I don't know where to start. Well, now I've shown you where to start. You know, like
There you
um,
go.
yeah, I suppose that's it.
Oh, one last question. Was this about $20,000 frame?
Yeah, something like that. I was 3 frames, but 20 grand was the price. Yeah,
Nice. All right, because
yeah,
that's what the price is going to be if it's going to take that long. If it's just going to
that's
take that
it.
much of an effort and expertise.
That's it. You know, I figure, well, where else are you going to get it?
Yeah, and you know what he's doing. So yeah, looks great, Scotty. Nice to see you and nice
Yeah,
talking to
mate.
you. And we'll catch up again.